This is the Yorkshire Businesswoman podcast, supporting, inspiring and promoting women in business.
Good morning. I'm here today with Lexus Leeds, part of the Vantage Group, and I'm here with the lovely guests Megan, Matt and Melissa, all in very specific roles at Lexus. We will be talking about lots of things, from innovation, engaging more women and representation in the automotive industry, as well as the future of not just electric cars, but cars in general and sustainability. So this is going to be a very, very exciting podcast. So to start with, Megan, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. It's been a lovely partnership that you've had with Yorkshire Businesswoman. Do you want to tell us about that?
So we've been working with Yorkshire Businesswomen now since November 2021, so coming up to about 2.5 years. And as part of the partnership, we've been really lucky to get involved with a lot of their monthly events, which is great because every month it's at a different venue, which really keeps it fresh and exciting. And we're doing lots of other work with them, and we've got some really good events coming up this year as well.
That's brilliant. And tell me what it was that made you reach out to the Yorkshire Businesswoman and how that started, that whole partnership.
So we reached out to Jill. It was back in the November, and we wanted to work with a business networking group, and when we saw Yorkshire Businesswomen, we thought that would be a really good fit, and especially because we wanted to increase that representation of women and really reach a new audience. We felt that Yorkshire Businesswomen was the right networking group to go with, and so far it's been a really great partnership. And I feel like the values of Lexus and Yorkshire Businesswomen align really nicely, which allows the partnership to be really successful.
That's really good. Tell me about your role, Megan.
So within my role, I work as customer experience and marketing executive. So that's really looking after customers and also working a lot within marketing automation and looking after the customer from the moment they step into our showroom throughout their journey with Lexus. So that's predominantly my role. And then obviously as well, I get really heavily involved with the events that we do through Yorkshire Businesswomen, but also within the wider business as well.
That's very good. And how long have you been there?
So I'm coming up to my 6-year anniversary in June.
Oh,
so,
congratulations.
Yeah.
So you're growing with the industry.
Definitely,
and growing with the partnership and the brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that leads me on nicely to Matt.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Matt?
Brilliant, thank you. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Good to hear. So I want to talk about Lexus and the brand in terms of, let's talk global to start with, Matt. I know Lexus is an incredible global brand with a huge footprint. So tell me a little bit about the global brand before we start talking about Leeds.
Sure. So as a business, they're very much customer focused, providing the best possible experience. And I think that's why it's such a popular brand globally, particularly the Australian market, the American market's very highly ranked in terms of reliability, customer service, and similar aspirations for the UK market, where we're looking to get a foothold and put more vehicles on the road, put more bums on seats, and ultimately get the good word out there of Lexus as a brand and how we like to look after people. It comes from our Japanese parents, basically, that started the company. The whole philosophy of omotenashi, making our customers feel welcome with us as if we were in our own home.
I love that. Can you just repeat that again? So,
Omotenashi.
Omotenashi.
Yes.
And that translates to?
Making someone feel welcome with us as if we were in our own home.
That's the first time I've heard that, Matt, and I think that's quite insightful, actually.
It's something that comes through from the top all the way down to showroom level. It's something that we've implemented at Lexus Leeds, and it's something that is embodied with all our members of staff, be it someone who's valeting the vehicles for us, all the way up to our centre principal that philosophy goes through the entire business.
That's incredible. And do you think that is a streamlined approach throughout the whole world? Throughout the whole world, is that the same ethos, or is it appropriated, do you think, in different countries?
I think it's probably appropriated to work with different cultures, but certainly in the UK, it's very much about us welcoming everyone that walks through the door as if they were a friend almost, and looking after them as if we would a friend.
Having test driven a Lexus and had the experience of driving the car for a day, I know I felt very welcomed and certainly looked after by yourself and the showroom and the staff there. So I completely resonate with that. So I can put my hand up and say I had that experience. That's brilliant, Matt.
It was really good, and from our point of view as well, it was the first time we had a handover specialist, which is something that the brand's decided to roll out across all the centres, to ensure that the experience from just being interested in the brand all the way through to coming back for your first service once you have the vehicle is seamless, and you're getting the same love, care and attention that you would at the start all the way through.
Well, that's very reassuring to know, especially given that it's a big investment. It's a huge investment in the times that we're currently living. So, making that budget available, first of all, and knowing that you are going to be in safe hands. Customer service is king. And yes, it's good to know that, you are going to be, like you said, looked after throughout the duration of your ownership of the vehicle. That's brilliant. I'll come back to you, Matt, and let's talk to Melissa.
Good morning.
Now, good morning, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good, are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
So your role is in HR.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I'm the HR manager for the group. So my main responsibility is to make sure that all our employees are cared for on a daily basis, potential issues, try and resolve, and be strategic as well. So looking at ways we can recruit women into the business.
That's good.
And looking at how we can transform the business as well on a monthly basis.
That's brilliant. So what kind of things do you do in order to engage more women in the industry? Because it still has an image of quite heavily male dominance, and that's definitely not just Lexus. That is the entirety of the car industry. It feels still very heavily male dominated.
Yeah, it does. I've been into the business 6 years now, and I can definitely see a difference, probably in the last 3 years, I'd say. So we are silver members of a group called the Automotive 30% Club, and it's a lady who founded the group, I'm going to say about 5 to 6 years ago now, and she her focus is to attract females into the automotive industry. So she runs initiatives throughout the year which we pick up on. So last year we did a lot of school talks, so going into local schools, partnering with local schools, and talking to students, both female and male. To try and attract them from a young age, because it's all about the roots as well. So we're really big on personal development at Vantage, and like recruiting females from within, but we need them from the roots to be able to do so.
So the landscape of jobs, I would imagine, is very diverse. From we're talking the technical to the front of house and customer relations, and it's a minefield, I would imagine. So when you go in to talk to, different demographics, different genders, what kind of thing do you think almost inspires or entices those young people into the automotive industry? For example, I have a young son. What kind of thing would you talk about in terms of the opportunities to inspire them?
Yeah, so we talk about apprenticeships a lot. I'm a massive believer in apprenticeships. I was an apprentice many, many years ago, and it has changed along the way. But apprenticeships are probably the way to start within the business. So I call her my little mascot. She's a young female technician in the business at Leeds, and I kind of take her with me to places to do talks to students about what inspired her to join the automotive industry. And it's great because we put a photo up of her. She's absolutely beautiful, and when she's going on a night out, and she's so glamorous, all done up in her makeup, and then she's stood next to me with a work uniform on, and you can be two different people. And I think that does inspire a lot of, like, especially female students to think, actually, you can be both. Because I think for the technician side, definitely they see it as a bit of you get your hands dirty, but it's not all about that at all.
And that's good, because I'm pretty sure that it's heavily dominated, specifically that particular role, by young men or men of every age. But to see a young woman dressed in her overalls doing a little bit of MIG welding or whatever they do in the showroom, or valeting, or anything else that goes with that job, is actually encouraging. And it should be normalised, really. It shouldn't necessarily be, as we've always imagined it to be, especially of my generation, a male-centred vocation. So I think that's brilliant. And I think you are good to go in at school level and start recruiting from a young age. I think that's absolutely incredible.
We've now got 6 female apprentices for technician role,
brilliant,
across 13 dealerships. So, and hopefully next year we can continue that along the way. But yeah,
are these paid apprenticeships, Melissa?
Yeah, so we actually pay higher than the normal average apprenticeship wage. So we bring people in around £6.58 per hour. But the training that they receive from the manufacturer for both Lexus and Toyota it's second to none.
That's excellent. And another question, and then I'll come back to you. In terms of progression routes from apprenticeship, what's the highest they can achieve from that? Where do they go from starting say if they wanted to start in the workshop, what is the progression from there?
Well, they can go all the way up to after sales manager and centre principal if they really wished. Along the way,
Brilliant.
Head of business. We have got one lady who's actually just won an Inspiring Women's Award this year, who started as an apprentice technician and is after sales manager in one of our centres now. So she's worked her way up and has done an amazing job, and is a young female as well. So again, very inspiring.
Well, that's just a story of a good case study there, isn't
definitely.
it?
Just
Excellent.
something off the back of what Melissa just said then as well. I've sort of seen it firsthand in the business, Vantage generally. If someone's got the right attitude and the right motivation, they can go really far in the business. Gender's not an issue. It's not even thought about. It's just, is this person great at this job? Then and they get pushed forward and championed.
That's great. And I think attitudes have been changing for a very, very long time. In terms of visibility, there is probably not as much visible, but it doesn't mean to say that it hasn't been happening. So that's really good to know. That's very encouraging. And moving back to you, Megan, in terms of some of the events, can you tell me about the kind of events that you've done in the last, say, year with the Yorkshire Businesswoman?
Yeah, so the main one we've got to mention is the event we actually had at our showroom in at Lexus Leeds. So we did that the previous year in 2022, and we did it last year as well. So that was a time for Yorkshire Businesswomen members to come into the centre. We had guest speakers, and also everybody was welcome to test drive the cars if they wished. And it was really nice, in that relaxed environment. There was no pressure if they wanted to take the cars out to really experience them, really, and get that feel of what Matt said about Lexus and the Omatanashi. So, we did that in May last year. And then we also do get involved with the other events, the monthly ones. So we've done Dakota,
Lovely.
Murder. I mean, yourself, you'll be attending all the events, so you'll know them well.
I was at the showroom in May, and also Moda as well. And I have to say they were very impressive, and it definitely opened my eyes to your dealership in Leeds, and a lot of the range of cars as well, which inspired me to go and take one for the day. So it's definitely a great way to introduce the brand to women like myself that are not necessarily fully au fait with what's on offer.
Yeah,
so
we
that's good.
actually have a model launching this year, the all-new LBX, and that is predominantly targeted towards females. So we've really had to shift the way we market the car to appeal to that female audience, and that's a big shift for us, for the Lexus brand. So yeah, we've been working more with female influencers, which is really opening up to a wider audience and being able to target those females and make them consider the brand.
Is there anything in particular, Megan, that makes it more female focused? For example, one thing that I look for when I'm going out to buy a car are the ergonomics. Do I fit in the car?
Yeah, I think from obviously a manufacturer level, it's been heavily researched in terms of what is going to appeal to that female audience. The LBX is a compact SUV. It's much smaller than other models that are actually in the range, and it's targeted towards females who are looking for that premium compact SUV, and the LBX is a really good fit for that. I actually haven't driven it myself yet, but I know Matt was in Barcelona a few weeks ago and got the opportunity to drive the car, so he'll be able to tell you a bit more about the feel and how the car drives. But yeah, it's a really exciting model for the brand.
Brilliant. So in terms of accessibility and affordability, again, is there something that you do? Because, you know, we're in all kinds of jobs at the moment. Women are, we're talking about senior roles, but we're also talking about, you know, starting out. Is it affordable? Are you marketing that to your audiences as well?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of price, it is Lexus's most affordable car that they have within the range. In terms of marketing, we've found when we are marketing towards women, they really resonate more with that lifestyle content, you know, whether that's work, leisure, the adventure side of it. So we really try within our marketing activity to try and resonate with how they see the car fit into their lifestyle. And I feel like if you can make the customer understand the brand and how you're marketing to them, they're more likely to have that attachment to the car. So that's kind of the route we've gone down with that.
That's brilliant. Moving on to Matt, who test drove the LBX, which is geared towards women. How did you find that, Matt?
No, for me, it's whilst, you know, the marketing's directed, you know, to a female audience, like more specifically, I think that the car itself's quite asexual as well in that sense, in so much as me driving it around, I'd be more than happy to drive that around daily. I think it's a fantastic car.
It's a beautiful car.
Yeah, so Lexus flew us out to Barcelona to be able to drive the cars and learn a bit more about the technology that's in the vehicle, and it's our second generation hybrid technology that's in that car. So when we were fortunate to get one delivered to the centre, I was lucky enough to be able to take a couple of business customers out with me. And to say it's not an electric car, 85% of the journey was run on electric only, just off the hybrid battery.
Brilliant.
So whilst it's not a full electric car, it's very efficient and certainly going to do very well in the next 12 to 18 months as we start seeing the vehicles land in the UK.
Sounds very exciting. Tell me more about this second generation hybrid. Those words really sprung out at me. Second generation hybrid. What's that all about?
So the main investment in technology has been around the battery and the speed in which it discharges power and also recharges. What that equates to for the driver, the owner of the vehicle, is much more a faster acceleration, and then under the hybrid, the braking, and as well as when it's coasting and it's recharging the battery, it's recharging at a much quicker rate.
That's interesting.
Which means from a cost of running point of view, it's probably going to be the best on your pocket that's out there in terms of hybrid at the moment. It's running a 1.5 engine, which is quite an efficient small engine. But
it is.
Because you've got that hybrid battery as well, you've got that bit of extra power there if you need it.
Do you think performance-wise that the hybrids and the electric cars are in parity with the wider market? Do you think that there is a like-for-like performance?
Toyota, our parent company, has been in hybrid technology for a long, long time, so they really know their stuff when it comes to that, and to the point that other manufacturers now are only just starting to adopt these products for themselves, whereas we've had a long time to perfect this and develop it. And I think from that, there's a philosophy of not leaving any customer behind. So whilst we've got ambitions of being 100% electric, the journey to that is going to involve hybrid, plug-in hybrid, full electric, and then investment on hydrogen cell technology as well.
I agree. And in terms of the infrastructure, do you think we are there already, or is it in a process of evolving still? Because the jury is divided, I guess, in terms of who drives, what right now in terms of hybrid, in terms of fully electric. I know where my moral code sits, but in terms of the infrastructure, does that support fully electric across, I suppose, the globe, really?
Yeah, so infrastructure-wise, if we just look at the UK market as an example, it's probably a bit behind the pace, because I think this year 20%, the last 2 months, 20% of all registrations have been electric vehicles, which is 2 or 3 years ago we wouldn't have been able to say that. So certainly people are starting to adopt these vehicles, and infrastructure's probably lagging behind slightly, but I think there's this whole range anxiety thing still going about.
I know I have range anxiety.
Yeah, and I've been driving an electric car for 9 months now, and I wouldn't look back, to be honest. The overall running cost charging at home, being able to charge it at supermarkets, it's, you can get a lot done while the vehicle's charging, and from my point of view, the extra saving in company car tax as well makes it a very attractive proposition. And as technology moves forward and manufacturing techniques get honed and developed, these will become more and more affordable for people.
I think the incentives are very good that you've just mentioned in terms of the tax efficiency. That's always a good way to encourage people to, I suppose, to start adopting those principles. In the UK, how do we sit globally in terms of our infrastructure supporting the electric car market?
Infrastructure and EV adoption, we're probably slightly behind the average pace, but in terms of long-term ambitions, I think we're going to get there. And I think me personally, I believe electric vehicles are going to be around to complement the future vehicles that might be hydrogen fuel cell. Possibly. A lot of money's been spent by quite a few big automotive manufacturers to make that technology viable. So I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't going to be a possibility, but I think electric vehicles are going to be a really good start to making the environment cleaner. I mean, I had an example over the weekend. I needed to go out a few places, and I just couldn't believe my bad luck. Every time I was behind a car, it was an older petrol car that would just smell. I could just smell the fumes coming through into the car, and it was the same when I stopped for a coffee at a drive-through. The car in front just the fumes were coming through.
Emissions, you notice them more when you are in a cleaner car. From the drive I remember.
Yeah, and I just thought to myself, is this going to be like this forever? It just can't be, because this is just me sat behind a car, in another car. So I think long term, we do have to get the air cleaned up.
In terms of cities, I think they're doing more in terms of keeping the air cleaner. Annoyingly, keeping us out of the cities in our vehicles. Hopefully, once we go all electric, they'll open up those barriers and we will be able to drive a bit more efficiently and not worry about emissions and pollution. It's interesting that the first car was an electric car, don't you think, Matt?
Absolutely, it was.
Haven't we regressed?
Yeah, I think over the period of time we seem to have gone full circle, don't we?
And I think it's a good thing that we are recognising that we are coming back full circle and almost starting again from scratch. And those principles of efficiency, of clean air, and I think it definitely comes down to a holistic approach. And just going back to that word that I keep using, infrastructure, it really needs to be a 360 approach. And I suppose be united in our ethics, from a larger kind of vantage point, that we all really need to have it drummed in that electric is really the way to go. So going back to Melissa, in terms of seniority and roles in the car industry, are you seeing that starting to happen?
Yes, I would say so. More, I'm a 30 by 30 leader, which is part of the 30% club, and obviously it's more led by the HR people, and we are all females, pretty much. But as we start to go through, have conferences and events, you can actually see there is more of a female stance at like sales director level in the car industry. So it is getting there. I still think there is a little bit of a way to go, not yet though.
Within the automotive space, 20% of women make up the workforce, with 10% at board level. So there is that representation there. But I think the work that Vantage are doing and wider in Toyota and Lexus, there's so much transformation going on that I think we are going to see some real improvements over the coming years. So it's really great to see.
Well, that's extremely encouraging again. Megan, what's on the agenda this year for Lexus in partnership with the Yorkshire Businesswoman? Have you got any exciting plans?
I think our big one is the event at Goldsborough Hall in May, which we're doing with Yorkshire Businesswomen. So it'll be the Yorkshire Businesswoman event. So
excellent.
Where all of the members can bring along a male colleague, business partner.
One of the only events where men attend.
They're allowed to come.
That's brilliant. And what kind of things will you be doing there?
So we're still in the works at the moment, but it's going to be similar to our showroom events, but just we thought it'd be nice to do it at an external venue this year. And I know yourself visited Goldsborough Hall recently, and it looks beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a 16th century stately home which has been renovated, and it's a stunning environment, and I definitely can see I can definitely see your brand.
Yeah, we're going to have the cars outside as you arrive, and again, people will be able to drive them if they wish. And yeah, we're hoping
it's a beautiful, quiet village as well. So it'll be really lovely to experience a drive in the village and the surroundings. Beautiful, and some amazing photography as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine. So, Matt, in terms of the future, anything else that you feel is really, really important to talk about in terms of the future of the car industry? By now, having looked at films such as Blade Runner, I would imagine that we would all be flying around or being droned about by drivers. Tell me what you think.
Well, I can tell you from Lexus' point of view, we've got a new product coming out, hopefully in 2027.
Does it have a propeller?
It's Basically, it's an operating system and a new vehicle platform altogether that's going to basically detect your mood when you get into the car.
Well, that's interesting. Is that AI?
Yes, and that there again goes back to what I was talking about earlier about omotenashi and being made to feel welcome. That embodiment goes through into the manufacturing and design work of the vehicles as well.
I need to stop you there at mood.
Yeah.
So are you telling me once I get out of my house on a morning, having had a very busy morning, to get into my car, I'm often stressed, Matt?
Yes, and it
now,
will adapt
is there
itself.
something in the car that can appropriate my mood or exacerbate it? That's what I'm interested in.
Oh, absolutely. We've only seen sneak peeks of the final product and what it's going to be and look like, but certainly operating system is all geared around anticipating your needs, basically.
Is it going to tell me to
Relax
relax?
and play relaxing music, maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
And are there any ergonomic things I need to be aware of? Any massaging seats or?
All that sort of thing is all in development still, but absolutely, I'm predicting that it's going to be a very, very relaxing space to be in.
That's almost beyond Blade Runner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Detecting your mood.
And it's voice control for all of the services in the car. There's a lot of things going into that car. And another thing, from a manufacturing process, traditionally cars are cast in one piece. Toyota Lexus are looking at gigacasting, which is breaking the car up into three pieces. So then, that being modular, it allows us to be a lot more flexible in terms of moving different parts around to use on different models. And as well, from a sustainability point of view, it'll also mean that if a car is damaged in an accident, the chassis is damaged, it's not a write-off. We'd be able to recover that vehicle and only replace the front third or the back third or whatever, depending on the incident.
I think it's brilliant to introduce that.
And as we go forward and more investments put into manufacturing, we'll be able to provide more efficiencies, not just around manufacturing, but around the battery technologies as well. And ultimately how we deal with our customers directly as well. So it's all very much geared around the customer experience, the lifetime experience with us, and trying to keep them with us as a lifetime brand partner, not just for 3 or 4 years.
So in terms of the future, Matt, and that interface that you have with your customers, you don't want to lose that, do you?
No, and I think as a luxury automotive brand, we have to have that personable approach and that personal touch. I see it all the time in our showroom. We very much want to get to know the people that we're going to be working with and provide them with a personalised service, not just a one-size-fits-all, here to buy a car, that's it. You know, we like to get to know them on a human level and understand more about them and make them feel welcomed.
Absolutely. And right now the world can be quite a remote place in terms of talking to your device and tell them to switch things on and off. So having that personal experience, please don't lose it, whatever you do. I think that's so important. So Megan, with the LBX, how are you going to specifically target that female audience? Please tell me more.
So I think we still have a lot of work to do in terms of reaching a female audience, but in terms of putting together our plans to launch this new model, we've really found with women that lifestyle content resonates with them a lot more. So whether that's through like the adventure side of their life, career or leisure, we've really been focusing on that. And through our marketing, showing off hobbies and interests, like I mentioned before, it's going to resonate with them more and make them really trust that brand, and that shows really that we understand them and what they want, so that we can cater to the needs, so that they can choose the car
And I think that's important, meaningfully engaging with an audience and genuinely doing it, and through hobbies and interests and lifestyle. I think that's an absolutely incredible way to reach
Yeah.
a new market. So
And absolutely.
that's good to know.
Yeah,
There's lots of personalisation as well on the vehicle. There's lots of different trim levels, and you can have different coloured stitching. You can have a bi-tone coloured body, so half of it's could be red and then the top half's black.
Really? So
There's
if
a
I
lot
came
of-
to you as a customer and I wanted to spec my car very, very specific to my tastes,
Absolutely.
irrespective of gender, I don't necessarily feel like there is a code now, it's very fluid, but I can come and say that stitching needs to be bright yellow.
It would be depending on the trim level you go for, but absolutely there's a lot of customization on that vehicle, and that all goes back to what Megan was saying about catering for all needs, and that's the type of people that we're looking to target. The people that like going on adventures, like trying new things. And from what I've seen at the good work that our marketing team do, is that these are the sort of people that we're targeting. These people that want to try new things, experience new things.
Yeah, and we tried to do that at our events. So we had one that I've actually not mentioned yet was we had an event at Harvey Nichols last year, actually, and we had the RZ in the Victoria Quarter. But upstairs we had an experience. So we had Japanese mocktails for customers to choose from. And we'd also done a display with the items from the showroom so that they could come in and almost, it was like a showroom away from the showroom.
Love it.
So we are doing lots of work with Harvey Nichols this year as well, which is going to be really
good.
exciting. So
Again, definitely some exciting things in the diary for this year,
absolutely.
Megan. Lovely. Lovely to hear all of this innovation and engagement and brilliant events and ways of targeting not just a female audience, but an audience per se, which is about inclusivity and making sure that you're definitely moving with your audiences in their entirety. That's brilliant. It's been so eye-opening and insightful to have you all in the studio today, and I look forward to seeing really what comes next.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
You're
you
very
so
welcome.
much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This is the Yorkshire Businesswoman podcast. To join the Yorkshire Businesswoman Network and find out more, visit our website yorkshirebusinesswoman.co.uk or find us on Instagram or LinkedIn. This podcast was produced by This Is Distorted.